Before we dive into this incredible HFY sci-fi story, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. Your support helps bring more epic tales of humanity's courage against the stars. And don't forget, share this video with a friend who loves sci-fi as much as you do. The ship Aurora, pride of Terran covert missions, tore through the violet skies of Carth-7 as its reactor screamed in agony. Warning sirens shrieked, inertial stabilizers offline, maneuvering jets gone, hull temperature spiking. Orion Vale, veteran of too many battles, cut unnecessary systems and braced for impact. The ship scraped across jagged fossil ridges, sparks and fire trailing in her wake until she slammed into a valley of crimson dust. Silence. Orion breathed in, checked his vitals, then unstrapped. The horizon was littered with bone totems swaying on basalt towers. His comms picked up whispers in alien dialects. Fire in the sky. A fallen prize. Meat for the clans. He remembered the stories. Carth-7 was no civilization. It was ruled by assassin guilds, each one bloodier than the last. He palmed his rifle, then stopped. First rule, observe before you fight. Orion knelt, scooped up the red sand, and let it slip between his fingers. It smelled like iron and betrayal. A shadow appeared at the ridge, an alien masked like an insect, blade curved in hand. Orion raised his hands empty. "We can talk." The radio crackled with laughter. The silent clan swarmed the wreck like carrion birds. They spoke with gestures, not voices, but their leader broke the silence. Varakel, tattoos carved into his gray skin, eyes replaced with glass orbs, jabbed a finger at the Terran insignia on Orion's chest. "Infant race. Borrowed tech. Leave your ship and your beating heart." Orion didn't flinch. Calmly, he explained the rescue protocol of the Terran coalition. If his biochip stopped broadcasting for 3 hours, an orbital probe would unleash swarms of micro-drones, sterilizing 50 kilometers. A bluff, but one that tasted like truth. Some assassins faltered. Orion pressed forward. "You want value? I'll trade knowledge. Let me repair one part, and I'll teach you how to turn swamp algae into power. Cheap. Endless." They laughed at the absurdity, until Orion revealed a micro-reactor from his survival kit. He dropped in a sample of green muck, and within minutes a strip of steady light glowed pure, smokeless, odorless. Whispers spread. Light that betrays nothing. Varakel tilted his head. "Words are cheap, Terran. Walking among us is not." They granted Orion a guarded passage into their market, a labyrinth of bone tents and weapon stalls. He walked as if listening to music, watching patterns, needs, weaknesses. He had landed in a den of killers, and killers respected only 2 things, blood or wisdom. In the center of the market, under an arch of polished bones, one law ruled: outsiders must prove themselves in ritual combat. Not to the death, only until recognition. Orion's opponent, Jask Thorn, a brute stitched from scars wielding twin blades. The crowd howled. Orion carried no blade. Instead, he wrapped a tactical cable around his arm, linking it to his magnetic bracer. The fight began like a storm. Jask slashed with a dancer's rhythm, blades flashing arcs of steel. Orion pivoted, letting the cable catch the blade's balance point, his bracer tugging it off beat. Sparks flew as the weapon buried itself in sand. The crowd gasped. Jask recovered, fainted, slammed a knee into Orion's chest. Pain flared, but Orion twisted, locking the cable around Jask's wrist and triggering a micro-paralysis pulse. The blade dropped. Silence. Orion didn't gloat. He offered Jask his weapon back, bowed in the local fashion, and said, "First blood means respect, not humiliation." A murmur rolled through the assassins. "Wisdom of war. In a body of clay." Varakel gave a subtle nod. Orion was no longer prey, but he wasn't safe either. His ship needed a Q-12 flux regulator, rare, priceless, and here nothing was given freely. The Q-12 belonged to the Wet Shadows Guild, sworn enemies of the Silent Clan. Asking meant war. Orion offered an alternative, a bargain that sounded insane. "Give me the part and I'll solve your water feud with the northern craters. Permanently." They mocked him, until he demanded just 1 hour and 2 guides. With scraps of tech and Terran ingenuity, he mapped underground flows, tested conductivities, and built siphons powered by gravity alone. For filtration, he fashioned graphene membranes, activated by trickles of voltage from his algae reactor. When the water poured clear into alien hands, the market erupted. The Terran made the desert sweat. The Wet Shadows had no choice but to yield the Q-12, not out of generosity, but survival. Orion took it with steady hands. Reputation was spreading, along with a name whispered like a curse and a prayer, Ral Dakar. The undefeated assassin, breaker of champions, who despised outsiders. Orion tightened his grip on the regulator. Fixing the ship was only part of survival. Changing the planet might be the other. While waiting for Aurora's systems to stabilize, Orion spent his time teaching. Not swordplay, but survival. He showed alien children how to sharpen blades with simple oils, how to rig noise traps to scare predators, and how to ask why before accepting contracts. On the sand, he drew a triangle: cost, risk, horizon. If a job fattens the rich, endangers your family, and shortens your horizon, refuse. That's not honor. That's stupidity. Some laughed, some listened. One child sneered, "Is this Terran weakness?" Orion smiled, weary. "It's how you get to see tomorrow." At dusk, green ion storms slashed the sky, and from the shadows came Ral Dakar, flanked by 6 killers, bearing a banner made of shattered circuits. "The Terran plays teacher. Let's see real blood." The crowd retreated. Orion recalled his mother's words, "Disarm the story before you disarm the hand." He looked Dakar in the eye. "They say you only fight battles with no escape. What if I offer you a better one?" Ral Dakar was a mountain of muscle and scars, obsidian blade gleaming in stormlight. "Better than my name?" Orion pointed to the barren horizon, to windmills of scrap that spun uselessly. "You reign over dust. Your food dwindles, your water bleeds, and your students die young. You rule a graveyard. I offer you something harder. Keep your crown and change the game." Dakar's blade hissed free. "Dead men talk too much." Orion raised his bracer, projecting a hologram of water flows and trade routes. "If we fight now, half die. Tomorrow, the other half seeks revenge. I can kill you, maybe. But what then? You stay dead, or you lead, stronger than before." The storm roared. Dakar pressed his blade to Orion's neck. The Terran didn't blink. "You call this not fighting?" Orion's lips curved faintly. "I call it fighting time." The crowd froze. For the first time, the champion's hand shook. Dakar lowered the blade an inch. "Tomorrow, I'll want your blood." Orion answered, "Tomorrow, I'll give you a reason not to." At dawn, raiders from a rival faction swooped in to steal the algae reactor. Orion had planned for it. He planted mirrored panels that bent heat signatures, turning the storm into a hall of illusions. Raiders fired at ghosts, while their exosuits seized up in electromagnetic fields he buried under the sand. Orion darted low, cable wrapping limbs, bracer shocking joints, not to kill, only to disable. One by one, the raiders collapsed in confusion. Ral Dakar watched from above, blade sheathed, eyes narrow. When the dust cleared, Orion dragged the raiders beyond the market and left a message on their helmets. "Assassins protect those who pay. Today, the market paid. Return with bread, not blades." Murmurs spread. Was this weakness or something stronger? Dakar descended. "You fight with shame." Orion shook his head. "I fight for tomorrow." The crowd whispered a new word beside Dakar's name: doubt. And doubt, Orion knew, was the beginning of all revolutions. Varakel called the clans to council under green bioluminescent lamps. The topic, the Terran. Some argued to sell him to slavers, others to name him Omen. Orion asked for voice. "I'll leave soon, but I'll gift you a pact of 3 moons. 3 rules. Do not raid water caravans, do not recruit children, do not burn algae fields. In return, I leave 3 tools: the algae reactor, the siphon maps, and a storm warning signal net. Not morality, math. Stable water raises profits. Fewer dead mean fewer feuds. Long-term contracts pay more." Silence. Then Orion turned to Ral Dakar. "And who enforces this?" "Him," the champion spat, then nodded. Break the pact and my blade finds you. The assassins stirred. For once, the word rule wasn't chained to blood. They signed in ink, not cuts. Orion knew, ink dries slower but stains deeper. On the third moonrise, Dakar stood before Aurora. A promise is a debt. I want your blood or your truth. Orion nodded. Truth carries risk. The champion lifted his blade. Then cut me with it. The duel began without crowd or stakes. Orion fought differently, blocking but never striking back, offering openings he never exploited. Each move whispered, I could kill you, but I won't. Fury built in Dakar's chest. Pride cracked into confusion. Finally, Orion hooked the cable on his blade, spun, and instead of slamming him down, he caught Dakar's weight, saving him from impaling himself. Pause. Why spare me? Dakar rasped. Orion's voice was steady. Because you're already on my side. You just don't know it yet. Dakar froze. Then with a roar, he stopped his blade a hair from Orion's throat and dropped it into the sand. He knelt. The Terran beat me without breaking me. I've learned more in this fight than from 100 corpses. Gasps spread. Orion clasped his arm. Then repay me. Teach them what you've learned. With the Q-12 installed, Aurora hummed back to life, lights glowing like dawn. Orion prepared for launch. The market was different now. Lamps powered by algae, children running without coughs, assassins sharpening blades, not in hunger, but in focus. Varakel handed him a bone token. You have a street here. Dakar wore a strip of blue cloth, symbol of horizon, tied to his wrist. If you return, you'll face my blade again. Maybe against me? Orion smiled. Then let it be for something greater. He climbed the ramp, set the engines roaring. Dust swirled like blessing and farewell. Over open comms, a child's voice called out, Terran! How do you say? Thank you? Orion's reply was soft. You say see you tomorrow. The ship rose into the ion-split skies. Behind him a seed remained, a pact, a lesson, a story. On Karth 7, his name grew into legend, the man who fought little, won much, and taught killers that true strength is knowing when the blade is not the answer. Until the day it must be.